likely catastrophic flooding. The state's most populated island, Oahu, was already experiencing coastal flooding because of rising sea levels. University of Hawaii climate scientist Chip Fletcher.
When we see swell events starting to erode property that's never been eroded before, or trees that have never been touched by the water before, we know that's the signal of this background condition of sea level rise.
There will be commemorations on the island of Oahu today, marking 80 years since the attack on Pearl Harbor. David Russell was a 21-year-old seaman first class aboard the USS Oklahoma when the bombs began falling. Says he jumped off that ship and made it onto the USS Maryland.
I just made a big leap, and I caught a hold of a line that was hanging over the side of the Maryland, and I hoisted myself aboard the Maryland.
He helped load ammunition aboard the Maryland for the rest of the attack. President Biden speaking by video call today with Russia's president on the troop buildup along the border with Ukraine.
President Biden today will warn Vladimir Putin that if Russia invades Ukraine, there will be serious consequences. The White House said Monday that includes severe economic sanctions. A senior administration official also left open the potential for U.S. military forces to be deployed to the region to reinforce and reassure NATO allies. President Biden spoke Monday night with European leaders, and together they agreed that Russia needs to de-escalate tensions and said they'll work together on next steps if necessary. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Across the country, COVID cases are up 27% in the past week, most still the Delta variant, even though Omicron has been detected in 19 states. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio's only got a few weeks left in office, enough time to issue the most sweeping vaccine mandate in the country. All employees working in the city, public or private, must be vaccinated by December 27th. You're listening to ABC News.
Do you want to be a hero for the holidays? How about getting your loved one a new iPhone? That's right. Pure Talk has iPhone 12 starting at just $479 through the end of the year. And sure, they have 13s too. Switch to Pure Talk. Great nationwide 5G coverage. Yes, the same coverage as the big guys, but the average family saves over $800 a year. Now that's just smart. There's no need to overpay for Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile. Plus, with Pure Talk's 30-day risk-free guarantee, you've got nothing to lose. Unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data is just $30 a month. And like I said, the iPhone 12, just $479. From your cell phone, dial pound 250 and say Jill 50, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Plus, save on a new phone. That's pound 250, say Jill 50. Pure Talk is simply smarter wireless. Some restrictions apply. See site for details.
Another subpoena from the Congressional Committee investigating the January 6th riot. Sources tell ABC News Mark Short, former Vice President Mike Pence's chief of staff, has now been subpoenaed. So far, it's unclear whether he will be cooperating with the committee. Back onto the stand today for actor Jussie Smollett on trial in Chicago, accused of lying to police about the victim of a hate crime attack. ABC's Eric Hahn has more.
Prosecutors say Smollett planned the fake attack because he was upset that the TV studio didn't take seriously a threatening letter he'd received. But Smollett said the studio tried to hire security for him, and in fact he turned it down because it was too intrusive. Smollett initially reported one of his attackers was white, but he testified he in fact could not tell the skin color of the suspects. But because they yelled MAGA and a racial slur, Smollett said, "I made the assumption that they were white."
The charges against Smollett carry a sentence of up to 3 years. City Council in New York expected this week to approve a measure that would give non-citizens the right to vote. People with green cards legally authorized to work in the U.S. would be able to vote in citywide elections. And an old word that's new again has become Dictionary.com's word of the year. Allyship, describing a person who advocates for marginalized groups, was just added to the site last month after searches for it surged this year. Experts say the word allyship, however, first surfaced in the mid-1800s. This is ABC News.
What's all the buzz about nasal irrigation and navage? Here's the science. Airborne germs invade through your nose. When your nose gets clogged, it's less effective and germs multiply. Eventually, your immune system can get overwhelmed and you get sick. Navage pulls out the bad stuff so you can breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier. At Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, Bed Bath, and Walmart. Or go to Navage.com for a free gift with purchase. Navage, Navage.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
The reasons more and more people are coming to NC Tractor to do business are the selection of Massey Ferguson tractors, Bobcat zero-turn mowers, fantastic customer service, and the special Phil Sheehan seasonal discounts. NC Tractor on Railroad Avenue in Rutherford is making dreams come true for folks who want the risk.
We have cooler temperatures in place, and this is because of a cold front that moved through overnight. It's breezy to start, and highs this afternoon will top in the upper 40s and the mid-50s. We are going to see sunshine to the north with clouds thick to the south. As we head into tonight, we'll fall into the upper 30s and lower 40s with showers moving in. That rain will be light to moderate as we head into tomorrow morning. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
We are just above the freezer locker stage this morning. We're 33. We started out at 35, dropped a couple, but we'll be climbing up real nicely. Mostly sunny skies today, around 50. The rain looks like it may come back in here toward the weekend. On Friday night and Saturday, we may have some rain. Saturday night, perhaps. Then it goes away for Sunday, so it's beautiful Sunday coming up. Again, right now, 33 degrees. Now, I have these death announcements this morning. Octavia Callahan of Bostic died Monday, December 6th at Fairhaven of Bostic. Arrangements are incomplete at this time and will be announced by McMahon's Funeral Home and Cremation Services for Octavia Callahan. Joseph Abraham Joe McFarland, age 77, of the Duncans Creek community, died Sunday, December 5th. The funeral service will be held 3 o'clock Thursday, December 9th at Duncans Creek Church. The family will receive friends at the church from 2 until 3 prior to the service. The Pageant and King Mortuary and Crematory in charge of those arrangements for Joseph Abraham Joe McFarland. Eugene Calvin Powell, age 86, of Forest City, died Sunday at Mission Hospital in McDowell. The family will receive friends from 2 until 3 o'clock Wednesday, December 8th at McMahon's Funeral Home. The funeral service will be at McMahon's Funeral Home at 3 o'clock on Wednesday, December the 8th, with military honors at Eternal Hills Memorial Park following, presented by the Rutherford County Honor Guard. McMahon's Funeral Home and Cremation Service in charge of the arrangements for Eugene Calvin Powell. Gloria Jean Morrow, age 64, of Forest City, passed away Thursday, December 2nd, at Rutherford Regional Medical Center. The family wishes to thank all the doctors and nursing staff of the second floor of Rutherford Regional for their love and compassion. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services has been entrusted with the arrangements. The funeral service will be conducted at 3 o'clock today at the Harrelson Funeral Chapel, and burial will follow at Marl Curve Cemetery. Family will receive friends from 6 until 8. That was last night. They received friends, and mask and social distancing are required for all attendees. For Gloria Jean Morrow of Forest City. Boyd Brian Lane, 86, of Rutherford, died Saturday, December 4th at Hospice House of the Carolina Foothills. Funeral services will be held today at 11 o'clock in the Pageant at King Chapel. Burial will follow in the Adderville Baptist Church Cemetery, with military honors being rendered by the Rutherford County Honor Guard. The Pageant and King Mortuary in charge of the arrangements for Boyd Brian Lane. Peggy Burns, 84, of Ellenboro, died Thursday, December 2nd at Fairhaven Home, Forest City. The funeral service will be conducted at 11 o'clock today at Washburn and Dorsey Funeral Home. Burial will follow in the Concord Baptist Church Cemetery. Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Service, serving the family of Peggy Burns. James Del Pettit, 75, of Forest City, died Saturday, December 4th. A graveside service will be conducted at 3 o'clock today at Eternal Hills Memorial Park. Military rites will be rendered by the Rutherford County Honor Guard. James will lie in state at Washburn and Dorsey Funeral Home from 9 a.m. until 7 p.m. last night. Family will receive friends at the home at 701 Morning Star Lake Road, Forest City. Other times, James Del Pettit of Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Service, serving the family. Jolyn Rose St. John Urban, 83, of Ellenboro, died Monday at Adrian, Cleveland. Visitations 4 until 7 today at Miller Funeral Home in West Dundee, Illinois. Funeral services will be 11 a.m. December 13th at the Immaculate Conception Catholic Church in Forest City, and Crow's Mortuary is assisting the Urban family. Janet Bostic Kesterson, 89, of Rutherford, died Friday, December 3rd, at the hospice of the Carolina foothills. The funeral service will be held 2 o'clock today in the Pageant King Chapel. Burial will follow in the Concord Baptist Church Cemetery. Family will greet friends as they exit from the service on Tuesday. The Pageant King Mortuary and Crematory serving the family of Janet Bostic Kesterson. Barbara Ann Daggerhart Espinozo, 81, of Forest City, died Wednesday at Rutherford Regional Medical Center. Services are pending. Crow's Mortuary will be assisting Barbara Ann Daggerhart Espinozo's family. James Mark Brown died Sunday, November 28th. The services are pending as well, and Crow's Mortuary will be assisting the family of James Mark Brown.
Not be enough unless you're disciplined with it. An example from me, your humble correspondent. Earlier this fall, I wanted to get my house painted. Big house, more than 100 years old. On every big expense, I shop around. 3 companies gave me estimates. 1, $65,000. 2, $53,000. And the third, $35,000. Now, I used to paint houses during my college summer days, so I know something about this, and I chose the lowest estimate, monitored the work the painters were doing, and it came out fine. I saved $30,000 by being disciplined. Let's hope the paint job doesn't fall apart next summer. The point is that money should be respected, since most of us work hard for it. Think about how you spend, because the more cash you keep, the more protection from bad things you can buy. In a capitalistic country, money can buy anything. But most importantly, it can provide security and freedom in an increasingly turbulent world. Now this. Investors, are you sitting on capital or wanting to diversify? The NRIA Real Estate Development Fund provides returns right now. They capitalize on strategic markets. They offer steady monthly payouts plus double-digit annualized returns. As 15-year industry leaders, they've seen it all. Start your due diligence at nria.net or call 800-800-1414. That's easy. 800-800-1414.
An offer of securities is only made by the NRIA Private Placement Memorandum. Read it first. Past performance does not guarantee future results. NRIA is a real estate development firm. Learn more at nria.net.
That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
Good morning. WCAB, the music's on us.
This is Gilbert. I'm back on the air every Saturday from 8 to 9. So put on a pot of coffee, sit down, and listen to Gilbert Talks Taxes. You just might learn something.
Although Oliver Hudson Kelly grew up in Boston, he knew he wanted to become a farmer. So he went to St. Paul, Minnesota, and bought some land. He experimented with new crops and used elaborate irrigation systems to water his land. As a result of his writing about his scientific farming, Oliver was hired to work for the Commissioner of Agriculture in Washington, D.C. Traveling the United States, he was impressed with the friendliness of the farmers as well as the loneliness of their job. He decided it would be great to start an organization of farmers so they could socialize and share ideas and problems. On December 4, 1867, Oliver Kelly organized the Order of the Patrons of Husbandry. It became known under a much simpler name, the Grange. They talked about problems such as the exorbitant prices charged by warehouses and railroads to store and transport their crops. Realizing they had a powerful organization, members of the Grange petitioned state and federal governments to get them to exert controls over these industries. As a result, the Grange laws were passed. Although they didn't solve the farmers' problems, precedents was set. and politicians started legislating industries from meat packing to drug making, stating it was their job to protect the interests of all the people. LaGrange was also influential in passing the Interstate Commerce Act of 1887, bringing the railroads under federal regulation. You've just heard another story from Old West Radio. I'm Dakota Livesay.
Jesse James has added 2 new sandwiches to his already delightful menu, along with the fresh-cooked burgers, sandwiches, fresh salads, hot dogs made to order. Now try the all-new crispy chicken sandwich with lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise, or the crispy deluxe with lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, bacon, and cheese. Both come with sides. Enjoy a refreshing milkshake or a hand-dipped ice cream cone. Open Monday through Saturday, 11 to 4, closed Wednesday and Sunday. Jesse James Railroad Express, 531 Railroad Avenue in Rutherford, or call 828-447-4644. And Mondays only, hot dogs with mustard, chili, and onions, only $1.24 each. All aboard the Jesse James Railroad Express.
Well, Christmas time's slipping up on us real fast. It'll be here before you turn around 4 or 5 times. But today is the 7th of December, and we have 33 degrees. Let's go to the phones now and find out what's been happening around the county. And Sheriff Chris Francis is on the phone right now to give us that update. Sheriff, good morning.
Good morning, Jim Bishop. Hope you're doing well.
I have been doing well, enjoying this beautiful morning so far. I think the rest of the day is going to be just as exciting.
I think you're exactly right, and I believe we actually are getting into some Christmas weather. Unlike some of the parades I've been in when I'm giving Christmas greetings and it's 70 degrees, so it feels a little bit more like Christmas today.
I can imagine. 75 is not Santa Claus weather, is it?
It is not, but we still got in the Christmas spirit.
Good. What's on the report today?
Jim, in the last 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office has responded to 136 calls for service. There have been 12 arrests processed at the county jail. Currently incarcerated, we have 185. Among those arrested, Christopher Scott Hull, 48-year-old male of Rutherford, was charged with failure to comply, received a $250 cash bond. Elmer Wayne Hamrick, 58-year-old male of Rutherford, charged with 3 counts of failure to appear, received a $1,000 secure bond. Lincoln Hart Odell, 19-year-old male of Rutherford, charged with failure to appear, received a $500 cash bond. Kenneth Scott Merck, 49-year-old male of Ellenboro, was charged with 2 counts of failure to appear, received a $500 bond. David Lamont Ledbetter, 36-year-old male of Lake Laurel, was charged with failure to appear and received a $6,000 secure bond. Daniel Justin Hill, 43-year-old male of Morrisboro, was charged with trespassing and resist obstruct delay. Corey Michael Marquise Keck, 32-year-old male of Boston, was charged with possession of heroin, drug paraphernalia, and contributing to the delinquency of his juvenile and received a $5,000 secure bond. Jason Dwight Bradley, 43-year-old male of Boston, was charged with possession of meth and possession of drug paraphernalia, received a $7,500 secure bond. Among our incidents, we had a larceny on Atlas Drive in Boston. It was a North Carolina tag, TCB4459, that is missing. We also had a breaking and enter and larceny being into a building larceny at US 74 Boston. There were 2 catalytic converters that had been cut off there. We had a larceny on Jefferson Road in Morrisboro as a tan and black German Shepherd, however, valued at $800. However, that canine has been returned. We had a littering call on Tony Road where there was trash that had littered up the road, possibly blown off the back of a truck. We had obtained property by false pretense on US 221A. Someone had used a victim's EBT card in the amount of almost $2,000 fraudulently without permission to do so. And we had a breaking in and larceny on Trojan Lane, Forest City, where there was U.S. currency and coins, several $1,000s that was taken from the victim in that incident. And, Jim, that's what we had to report today. All
right, that's enough, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Sheriff, I appreciate you being with us. Thank you for the report, and you go have a good day and be safe out there.
And, Jim, I appreciate that, and would like to know I was able to file for re-election for sheriff yesterday and excited about that. So just everybody get ready, and we've got about 3 months till primary if everything goes okay in the court system and that doesn't get prolonged.
I hope they may have that on time, regular time. They're still a little iffy about that, but I hope it's scheduled run, and I saw you had filed. I was getting ready to do that story in just a few minutes.
Sounds good. Thank you, sir, and take care.
See you now. Bye-bye. Sheriff Chris Francis reporting in this morning. from the Sheriff's Office. It's 19 past 7. You know, nothing strikes fear in the hearts of people more than receiving an IRS audit letter in the mail. Audits take much time away from your business and family, requiring you to gather mounds of records, and can become overwhelming unless you have someone you can depend on to take care of that for you. That's why we can recommend IE Accounting and Tax Service. Chris and his team of professionals are in the business to help. Even if you depended on someone else to prepare your taxes, IE Accounting and Tax Service will be glad to assist you or your company. Don't hesitate to call. As a small business owner, you have more important things to do than keep your own books. Why not let IE Accounting and Tax Service take care of that for you, so you can get back to the job of running your business? Consider their payroll solutions for your business, cash flow management, litigation support, and forensic investigation. Why not give them a call and see what they can do for your business? Here's that phone number, 828-395-1777. They're at 211 West Main Street, Spindale. Again, that's 395-1777, and it's spelled A-R-Y-E-E. Well, if everybody let IE handle their books and their taxes, there'd be less confusion going on out there because they are really professional. A-R-Y-E-E, IE. Now here's Kylie with the 911 Communication Center report. Good morning, Kylie.
Good morning.
What's on that report today?
In the past 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office 911 communications has processed 446 911 calls and administrative calls, which consisted of 54 for EMS, 136 for the Sheriff's Office, 50 for Forest City, 7 for Lake Lure, 45 for Rutherford, 42 for Spindale. Hudley responded to a fire alarm. Rutherford responded to 2 motor vehicle accidents. Sandy Mush responded to a motor vehicle accident, and that's all we've had.
Thanks so much, Kylie. You have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
Bye. Well, yesterday opened the filing period for 2022 elections. It began Monday at noon, as incumbent county commissioners were first in line filing for re-election. Commissioner Chairman Brian King, District 1, was first, followed by Commission Vice Chair Alan Toney, District 5, and Mike Benfield, District 4, all Republicans. They all filed for run for re-election. Benfield will face primary opposition as Republican Jason Dwayne Toney also filed for District 4 seat. Sheriff Chris Francis filed for re-election, as did Clerk of Superior Court Steve Owens. Owens will face primary opposition from Patsy Kirkland. In local races, the 3 Board of Education seats are also up for election, but no one has filed at as close of time yesterday. Those seats are currently held by Republicans Brandy Nanny, District 1, Brandon Gosey, District 2, and Sherry Bride, District 3. Rutherford County Elections Director Dawn Lovelace said opening day for filing went smoothly, and she expects it to continue smoothly. They run a great office over there. Here is Ruby Taylor now with the Danieltown SDO report. Good morning, Ruby.
Good morning.
What's on the report today?
Well, the fire department didn't have any calls, and on my birthday counter, I've got Susan Huntley, Tim Phillips, and Reese Oliver having birthdays, and Mr. and Ms. William Kemper are having anniversary. Hope all these people have a nice day, and the signs are in the secrets today and tomorrow. And Jim, that's all I got.
Thanks, Ruby. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Nobody gets a better deal than the customers at Sisk Family Ford. They have a proven record of the best deals. Sisk Family Ford, Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealer, has recently been recognized as the #1 Ford dealer in customer satisfaction in the Southeast. That speaks well of their commitment to serve their customers well. Look for all the new design 2021 F-150 at Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealership. That's Sisk Family Ford, Oak Street, Forest City.
Another season has come and gone, and you're still looking at that same sad-looking sofa or recliner. Well, now's the time to change the inside of your home to look as pretty as colors outside. And the perfect place to start is the Recliner Center. Right now at the Recliner Center, everything is 20% off. That's 20% off sofas, recliners, sofa recliners. If someone you love is having trouble standing, the Recliner Center has all lift chairs on sale for 10% off. All lift chairs, 10% off. Now, some of these chairs can take you from a standing position, then safely back down to a sitting position with no effort on your part whatsoever. Angela is cleaning out merchandise to make room for more. So now's your chance to redecorate your home and take advantage of the great savings at the Recliner Center. All lift chairs, 10% off. Everything else is 20% off. Angela is seeing folks by appointment only, so call 828-395-3562. Call her today. The Recliner Center. They're on Cooper's Gap Road in Rutherford.
Hey, Gary Wilson is up next. He's up in the Fairfield Mountains, Bills Creek community, looking at things for us. And Gary, how you doing this morning?
Doing pretty good. How you doing, Jim?
Doing good. It's a little cool out there, but it's going to warm up nicely.
Yeah. Starting off about 32 up here this morning. Didn't get any rain yesterday. It got dark and cloudy, and I thought we was going to not catch a shot of it. I don't think we got a sprinkle out of it. I don't know, but hopefully we'll be more coming in by the weekend. And some of these leaves wet down before we're having some serious problems out of it. So far, we've been pretty lucky on this end up here. We just had a couple of minor trash fires, and that's all we had to deal with overnight. Last night was bad. Going on and sitting on about 32 right now and ready for another day.
All right,
it's a little cooler than what it has been, but
yeah,
I like in that 70-degree weather myself. I don't want to see old Santa come in here with a tank top and fair shorts on. But
yeah, that would look funny, wouldn't it?
That would, wouldn't it?
You'd have to change between North Pole to the time he got here. He'd have to change clothes in the process.
Yeah, he would. He'd have to put on something a little heavier, probably.
Well, listen, Gary, I appreciate you. You have a great day up there, and I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. You take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Does your financial advisor take the time to really listen to you? Is your financial strategy personalized for you and your family? Will your financial advisor be there as your life and financial situation change? Hi, I'm Andrew Tisdale, your local Edward Jones financial advisor. When we work together, we focus what's important to you. We create a personalized strategy backed by our advice, our tools, and resources to help you reach your goals. And we partner together to help your strategy stay on track no matter what happens. Contact me at any time at 828-287-9197. We'll sit down, talk, and we're going to make a strategy that's right for you.
Now we're going over to Bostic. DeVern's on the phone now to give us news from Bostic Fire District. Good morning, DeVern. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm just fine. Hey, was your grandchild in the parade on the weekend?
Yes, it was.
That's
my great-grandchild.
Great-grandchild. Well,
yes.
I saw the picture on Facebook. Was that so that was your grandson and then your
That's my
great-grandson?
grandson driving, and that was my great-granddaughter,
Oh, my.
Allie.
Well, that's great. Bringing them up right. Bringing them up to enjoy
Right.
fire department.
Yes. The fire department had no calls. It's kind of quiet for them yesterday. And Boston Floors has raffle tickets up to December the 17th. Washburn Store has their Christmas candy and lots of other nice items. And need to go by and get you one of their delicious sandwiches. And don't forget to stop by the Lincoln Center there on Main Street in Boston. Lots of good information there to see and enjoy. And the town of Boston does have a display of lights. Come by and see our little town. We're proud of it. And hope everyone has a safe day today.
Thanks, DeVern. You have a good day as well, and thanks for the information. I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
It can be a tough call when it comes time to provide a daycare service for an aging parent or a loved one. You can always depend on Rutherford Life Services for a safe facility that offers medical monitoring, nutritional meals, fun activities, and is a loving environment. Rutherford Life is licensed by the State of North Carolina Division of Aging. They will be glad to answer any questions you may have. Call them at 288-1697. Rutherford Life Services offers a trained staff of professionals who you can entrust your loved one to. Rutherford Life Services is located at 230 Fairground Road in Spindale.
Checking in over at Hudlow now, Hudlow Fire District. Bob Hodge, how you doing this morning?
We're doing just fine on this chilly Tuesday morning.
Yes, it is. You have 2 extra cups of coffee this morning to warm up.
That's right. It takes 2 cups this morning to warm me up. This is a 2-cup morning.
2-cup morning, that's right.
That's right, there. Well, we're all doing just fine up here this morning with the fire department. Been quiet overnight. Hadn't had any fire calls. And so far, everything's going along good up here this morning. And let's see, Piedmont Pleasant Hill Clubhouse now is having their visit with Santa Claus this coming Saturday. And that's from 12 to 3 p.m., and that's for 8 years and younger. And, Jim, that's about all I got, because it's Pretty quiet up here this morning.
Good. I like it. It's been pretty quiet just about everywhere so far, and I like that.
Yeah, it is.
Hope we can continue that all the way through the holiday season. It'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, through all these holidays here, there's people be careful out there shopping.
Yep.
Around.
All right, Bob, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and thanks for being with us.
Well, you have a good day.
I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, bye-bye.
And you catch Bob most afternoons, too, with the Afternoon Report with Kevin Pleasant. It's 7:30, and just a few days away from the drawing for the Chamber raffle for the big money is going to somebody. Could you use an extra $8,000, maybe $1,500 or $500? Your opportunity to brighten things up this year is here. The 2021 Rutherford County Chamber of Commerce raffle tickets are now available. Only 500 tickets will be sold, and you could win $8,000, $1,500, or $500. 3 winners and tickets are available now at the Chamber office, Main Street, Rutherfordton, and here at WCAB. Our Chamber board members have them. The drawing this year will be held December 17th, live on WCAB 100.9 FM, 590 AM at 8:10, and it will be live streamed. Be a part of supporting the Chamber with your purchase of a raffle ticket. Tickets are $50, and the chances of winning $8,000, $1,500, or $500 are phenomenal. Have some fun, buy a ticket, and listen for the winning number. December 17th at 8:10. You know what? It could be you. I'm getting excited about the drawing. It's coming up here real soon, and somebody listening to me right now could be the fortunate winner of the big money. We hope so. 7:31. Now let's head over toward the Cherry Mountain Fire District. And Sue Price, how are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Jim. I'm doing good. Hope you are.
Yes, indeed.
Well, good. It's a nice morning. Well, let's see. This is one of the days I don't have any birthdays or anniversaries on either one of my calendars. Didn't have any calls from the fire department, so they've been quiet. I have announcements for a drive-through live nativity at Fairview Baptist Church. That'll be on Saturday, December the 11th, and Sunday, December the 12th, from 6 to 8 p.m. The Christmas program at First Broad Baptist Church will be December the 12th at 6 p.m. The Christmas program at Golden Valley Church is December 17th at 7 p.m. Duckins Creek Church will have a Christmas Eve candle lighting service and Christmas carols. First Broad Baptist Church will have a Christmas Eve service at 10 p.m. So a lot of programs and stuff going on at the churches. Just pick you out a good date and go see some Christmas programs or see some live nativities. It's all exciting. It's an exciting time during December, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah, really exciting. Everybody seems to have a good attitude and happy, and I like that.
I know. Well, I hope you'll have a good day today, Jim.
Thanks, Sue. You too, and we'll check back in tomorrow morning.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Everything's been nice and quiet so far around the county. We're going to try to check in with Drop-In, a Family Mart over there in Boston, see what's going on over there. If they got breakfast going, they've been really, really busy lately. But they're ready for Christmas, too. We'll find out more about them in just a moment.
Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood, because we're headquartered in North Carolina with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, helping you is what we do best.
In Rutherford County, please call 287-2428.
North Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Insurance of North Carolina, Inc., Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada has awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting to Rutherford County Government for its annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2020, according to the Daily Courier. The report has been judged by an impartial panel to meet the high standards of the program, which includes demonstrating a constructive spirit of full disclosure to clearly communicate its financial story and motivate potential users and user groups to read the report. This is the highest form of recognition in governmental accounting and financing reporting. County officials were notified of the award this week. Congratulations to our county for receiving this award. Commissioner Chairman Brian King said the latest honor of excellence awarded to Rutherford County is an achievement our county finance office, each county department, the Board of Commissioners, our administration team, and our citizens should be very proud of. It reflects the continuing effort for excellence through our organization and accountability for the federal, state, and local funds that we are responsible for. Congratulations to Finance Director Paula Roach and her team. This is words from Chairman Brian King. County Manager Steve Garrison also is pleased. He said, I'm exceptionally proud of Paula Roach and her team for receiving this acknowledgement from the GFOA. Garrison said this demonstrates to our citizens that the county continues to be good stewards of their tax dollars. So congratulations to Paula and her team there, and for Rutherford County for being so diligent in keeping the record straight so we'll know exactly what's taking place. Can't get anybody there till you drop in Family Mart, but let me remind you that they do have a full breakfast over there. If you'd like to have a good hot breakfast, it's a good place to stop in over there. If you're on your way to work, stop in, let them fix you a biscuit or some gravy and biscuits and sausage and eggs and liver mush and all those good things. And while you're there, go ahead and browse the meat market, fresh meat market. A lot of stores don't have those anymore, but they've got it at Bostic at the Drop-In Family Mart. It's a great grocery store, and they do personal service. They can bring it out to the car for you. If you call ahead for breakfast, they'll prepare it for you, have it ready for you. It's just a great, one of those great gyms in our county that we're proud to have and proud that it's locally owned and operated. That is Drop-In Family Mart there in Bostic on the Bostic Sunshine Highway. It's a treat you'll enjoy. Now we're going up to Shingle Hollow community now, and Tina White is there to give us the news. Good morning, Tina.
Good morning, Jim.
How are you doing today?
You said it. I'm doing all right. You said it's been quiet all over the rest of the county. Well, it is. It's noisy up here at the White House.
Oh, really?
Yeah. See, my mama come to visit yesterday, and she had a doctor's appointment yesterday morning early, and she spent the night, and she's here this morning, and she's loud and in the Christmas spirit. And
you better be careful. She'll mark you off the list.
Oh, yesterday morning, I missed your call. I was ready. I had everything laid out, and I was ready. But like I said, Mama was here. She had an early appointment, and we didn't even hear the phone ring, so I don't know what happened. But I want to call out yesterday's birthdays because I missed it. But
sure.
The fire departments were all quiet, but yesterday was Wayne Stafford on Pilgrim's Way, and I heard you call his name out over the yesterday morning over the radio. And Pleasant Grove had 2 birthdays, Ryan Whiteside and Roger Tomlin. So I hope they had great birthdays yesterday. Today we have no birthdays at all, and it's 32 degrees up here on my front porch. Pretty sunrise over there. Both fire departments were quiet. I need to take Mama by to visit them is what I need to do. They can have a little noise. I told her this morning, I've got to share this too. She said, do this. I said, what are you doing, Tina? I said, well, Mama, everything doesn't revolve around you. She said, when I'm here, it does.
I love your Mama.
I better be a better daughter, since, like you said, since she might mark me off her list.
Where does she live?
Well, she just lives in Golden Valley, but she came up to visit, and I love it. We do a little Christmas shopping.
Well, you can tell those Golden Valley folks, but you can't tell them much.
Now, wait a minute. I can pick on her, but you can't.
I got a lot of friends up in Golden Valley that listen every morning. They know I'm kidding.
Yeah, they know you're kidding. So the birthday calendars, I said, Christmas plays. Piney Knob Baptist Church is having a children's Christmas play at 6 p.m. on the 12th, and they invite everyone out to that. And then they're having their adult Christmas play on the 19th at 6 p.m., and they invite everyone to that. And that's really all I have this morning.
I believe your dog's excited.
Yes, they are, and I'm trying to get away. I don't know what's going on out there, but I'll see in just a minute.
We love dogs. They can bark on this program anytime they want to.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for letting my dogs bark, and everybody stay safe out there today. God bless you, and Be in the Christmas spirit.
Bye, Tina. Bye-bye. Tina White reporting out of Shingle Hollow this morning, 7:39, and we have a couple of more stops to make. Hang around.
Your car's best friend can be RS Speedy Lube Service Center. That's because RS Speedy Lube Service Center and Car Wash can keep your car or truck running clean with a regular oil change. They check the fluids and vacuum out the car and have you on your way in no time. Go next door for a radiator or transmission flush, brakes, exhaust, CV joints, and service for big trucks and campers also available. Pull next door to the RS Speedy Automatic Car Wash and make your car happy with a clean, all under and all over car wash. It's all at RS Service Center and Car Wash on Railroad Avenue in Rutherford.
7:40 and 33 degrees here in Rutherford. Let's check it up in Union Mills. And Brenda Kelly, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing just fine on this terrific Tuesday. How about yourself?
I'm feeling terrific.
Feeling mighty fine.
Yeah, I've heard your dogs bark on the radio before.
Oh yeah, many times. Yeah.
That's all right. We love dogs.
That's right.
If my dog was here, she'd be barking.
There's a Christmas song that the dogs
Yeah.
do, ain't they?
Yeah.
That just entered my mind when you said we love the dogs. But anyway, we hope everybody's having a good morning. I've got 28 degrees on the front porch this morning. That's quite a drop from 46 yesterday morning. And birthdays today, we got James Hutchins, so I hope James has a great old big day on his special day. And in ways of announcements, Piedmont Pleasant Hill Community Club lunch with Santa Claus Saturday, December the 11th, 12 noon to 3 p.m. And this is for children 8 years and younger, so I don't qualify for that, so I'll just have to miss out. And I don't know of anything else going on up here that I know of. It's just short, sweet, quiet, and cold this morning.
It is cold. If you go outside, be sure to wrap up good.
I am. I'm going to wrap up good. I'm not going to be cold. I'm cold-natured anyway.
Well.
Always have been.
Yeah.
Have to throw another log on the fire, Mama.
That's right. You have a great day, Brenda.
Okay, you go check on Luther.
All
Catch
right.
you later.
All right, bye-bye. 42 minutes after 7 o'clock, a big old loud truck going down the road right here, and live radio makes it interesting and exciting.
Thinking about the departure of a loved one through death is a subject we don't like to talk about. However, pre-planning or prepaying for a funeral is a consideration and responsible thing to do. With so many options available today, it's important to speak with someone you can trust and someone who can help you find a balance between the emotional, spiritual, and financial needs of your loved ones. Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is recognized as one of the best family-run funeral homes. It's a family tradition, and they know how to care for your family. Any questions you might have, they will be happy to answer. Call Crow's Mortuary and Cremation Services at 286-2304.
All right, Ellenborough is our next stop. That's where Luther Gilligan hangs around and drinks coffee and talks to us about what's going on over there. Good morning, Luther.
Good morning. He's good at drinking coffee.
It's good stuff, isn't it?
It is good. He's good at hanging around, too. He hangs around, piddles around, messes around. But it's a good day down here this morning. It's quiet, not a whole lot going on. Let's see, well, the fire department was quiet all day yesterday and all last night until about 6 o'clock this morning. Had some people out burning some trash in the wind and blowing, so they had to go out and put it out. Illegal burn, but I think they were probably legal. They was within 100 foot of the house, but it should have been burning in all this high wind out there anyway. But whatever, they put it out. But other than that, just nothing going on down here. Everybody try to get their biscuits and head on out and get another day in.
All right.
So you have a good day up there. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
You stay warm, and I'll see you back here tomorrow morning.
All right.
Bye.
All right, take care.
It's birthday time and anniversary time for the 7th day of December the 7th. Call us now at 287-3356, and we'll celebrate with you. Birthdays and anniversaries coming up. Coming up the next hour, Andrew Tisdale will be in to talk a little bit about some making sense of our finances. Congresswoman Virginia Fox scheduled to call in. And then at bottom of the hour, we have the commission report schedule with Commissioner Chairman Brian King. Then 9:05 this morning is My Great America with Jim and Butch. Got a busy schedule here this morning. We don't want you to miss a word of it, so hang around with us.
Cheryl, I've been talking to Tommy and David, the outside salesmen at Henson Building Materials in Forest City. They're going to help us navigate through our remodeling project.
Well, I know they have tons of experience, so we'll be in good hands.
Good hands is right. Even professional builders shop there because they trust the quality products and service.
And did you know they have a great relationship with our community, too? Oh, they're so nice.
Henson Building Materials, 177 Duke Street, Forest City.
Building starts here.
Let me brag on Hutchins Pest Control a minute. Don't let the pest bug you when Hutchins Pest Control is as close as a phone call. Honest, dependable, professional, and on-time service may be the reason they keep getting voted best pest control. If you have a pest problem, call this family-run business at 287-5171. Licensed in North and South Carolina and fully insured and bonded. Get a free estimate when you call Hutchins Pest Control and be sure the job is done right. That's Hutchins Pest Control. Call them today at 287-5171 and they'll be right there. That's really something to crow about. It's the Daylight Donuts from Granny B's in Spindale. Get yours today. While they're fresh, they're good, they're delicious. It's Daylight Donuts. It's something to crow about. And breakfast is served over there. They're doing breakfast now, 7 o'clock until about 11, I believe it is. Or check with them and enjoy your breakfast. Great job on breakfast over there. Happy birthday. Happy birthday wishes going out to Brandon Hall. Brandon's 31, lives over in Ellenboro, works at Bernhard Furniture over in Shelby. So I want to wish Brandon a happy birthday. Also, national birthdays include 1904 Clarence Nash. You know who that is? Clarence Nash. He's the voice of Donald Duck. He died in 1985. 1915, Eli Wallach is an actor, and he died in 2014. 1931, Bobby Osmond, half of the Osmond brothers, was born. 1942, Henry Chapman, is that right? Harry Chapin, I'm sorry. Singer, Cats in the Cradle, he died in 1981. 1947, Johnny Bench, Major League Baseball catcher, was born. 1956, Larry Bird, NBA player, was born on this date. At other events, 1909, Lee Bakeland Pattons, Baselight sparkling the birth of the plastic industry. 1941, Japanese Navy with 353 planes attacked the U.S. fleet at Pearl Harbor Naval Base, Hawaii, killing 2,403 people. 1953, WCCB TV station in North Carolina began broadcasting. And this is World Trick Shot Day. Todd, could you do those trick shots? Oh, yeah, he says, yeah. National Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. We hope we never forget that. Hopefully they don't take that out of the history books. National Illinois Day and National Cotton Candy Day. So now you're up to date on this date in history right here on WCAB. Ty Bowen, Kyle Bowen of Sandy Mush also having a birthday today. Keys to Confident Living coming up next.
In his autobiography, number 1, Billy Martin told about hunting in Texas with Mickey Mantle on a friend's farm. Mantle went to the house to get permission to hunt. The friend quickly granted the request, but asked that Mickey would shoot a mule in the barn that was going blind and which he didn't have the heart to shoot. When Mickey came out of the house, he pretended to be angry. When Billy asked him what was wrong, Mickey said his friend wouldn't let him hunt. "I'm so mad at that guy," Mantle said. "I'm going out to his barn and shoot one of his mules." Martin protested that he couldn't do that. Mickey shouted back, "Just watch me." When they got to the barn, Mantle took his rifle, ran inside, and shot the mule. As he was leaving, though, he heard 2 other shots. He saw that Martin had taken out his rifle also. "What are you doing, Martin?" he yelled. Martin, with his face red with anger, said, "We'll show that guy. I just killed 2 of his cows." Anger can be dangerously contagious. The proverb says, "Do not make friends with a hot-tempered man, or you may learn his ways." The Bible also says, "Do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for anger resides in the lap of fools." Most anger does not provide clear thinking. Counting to 10 is indeed a good place to start. This is Bill Hostler with today's Key to Confident Living.
WCAB. The music's on us on WCAB.
Mary Bruce with more on diplomatic efforts to de-escalate the situation.
President Biden is set to deliver a blunt message to Russian President Putin. Invade Ukraine and there will be consequences. Harsh economic sanctions meant to impose severe pain on the Russian economy and possibly cutting off Russia from the international financial system. A senior administration official even leaving open the possibility that more U.S. forces could be deployed to the region.
New York City passing the toughest vaccine mandate in the country. All private sector employees will be required to get the COVID shot by December 27th. Kids will also have to show proof if they want to eat at New York restaurants. ABC's Stephanie Ramos says pediatric cases are on the rise.
Last week's data revealing 133,000 children across the country tested positive for COVID-19, accounting for a quarter of the weekly COVID cases.
They'll soon be welcoming a new boss at American Airlines.
Current CEO Doug Parker came over from U.S. Airways when that airline merged with American in 2013. Without offering a reason for his departure from his job, Parker says,
"We've prepared for this leadership succession for several years, and indeed, were it not for the pandemic, this transition would likely have occurred even sooner."
American Airlines President Robert Isom will take over as CEO on March 31st of next year. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
80 years ago this morning, the Pearl Harbor attack began. Some of those who were there are in Hawaii today for commemorations. You're listening to ABC News.
Do you want to be a hero for the holidays? How about getting your loved one a new iPhone? That's right. Pure Talk has iPhone 12 starting at just $479 through the end of the year. And sure, they have 13s too. Switch to Pure Talk. Great nationwide 5G coverage. Yes, the same coverage as the big guys, but the average family saves over $800 a year. Now that's just smart. There's no need to overpay for Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile. Plus, with Pure Talk's 30-day risk-free guarantee, you've got nothing to lose. Unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data is just $30 a month. And like I said, the iPhone 12, just $479. From your cell phone, dial pound 250 and say Jill 50, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Plus, save on a new phone. That's pound 250, say Jill 50. Pure Talk is simply smarter wireless. Some restrictions apply. See site for details.
State of emergency in Hawaii as the state faces severe winter storms. The National Weather Service warning of possible catastrophic flooding. University of Hawaii climate scientist Chip Fletcher says it's being compounded by rising sea levels.
With sea level rise, it won't need a big swell event. It won't need an extraordinary high tide to cause damage on the shoreline.
Another car maker announcing another big battery plant, this one in North Carolina. ABC's Daria Albinger.
Toyota is ready to downshift into a major part of building electric vehicles with plans to break ground on a lithium battery factory near Greensboro, North Carolina.
It will be for the cleaner cars of today and tomorrow. And we hope in the future everything that goes around the battery will be part of this as well.
Governor Roy Cooper says the factory, which will employ more than 1,700 people, is expected to begin production in 2024. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
A morning launch by NASA from Cape Canaveral on a mission for the Space Force.
3, 2, 1. And we have liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket with the STP-3 mission for the United States Space Force.
The rocket carrying an experiment to study solar radiation and an experimental communication system using lasers. This is ABC News.
You love Zoom for video meetings? Now, choose Zoom to power your phone communications too. Zoom Phone works seamlessly within the Zoom app as your business phone system. Zoom Phone's secure HD audio and enterprise-grade reliability keep you connected to your teams and your customers. And it's easy to use on mobile, desktop, or desk phone. Empower your workforce with Zoom Phone. Zoom, how the world connects.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Today will be cooler, all thanks to a switch in our wind directions out of the north and east. Highs will reach the upper 40s and the mid 50s with sunshine to the north and clouds thick to the south. Overnight will fall into the upper 30s and lower 40s. We are tracking some showers to build in overnight. That rain will be light to moderate tomorrow morning, especially for areas to the southeast. Highs will be chilly in the mid 40s and lower 50s. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
We're still just above the freezer locker. We're at 33 degrees here in beautiful downtown Whiteside Road, but we will be warming up nicely, I think, today. Looking up to about 50 in light wind, only about 6 miles per hour. Dropping back to 35 tonight, a little bit warmer than we are right now. But it is fall of the year. Wintertime's coming this month. We've had some spring-like weather. Andrew Tisdale is in the blue room with me, and we'll get to him in just a moment.
At Smith Drugs of Forest City, we are continuing to offer the COVID-19 rapid testing and the COVID-19 vaccinations. Please call our pharmacy at 828-245-4591 with any questions or concerns that you may have. You may also visit our website at smithsdrugsfc.com and schedule your COVID rapid 19 test or your vaccination. Again, if you have any questions, please call our pharmacy at 828-245-4591.
It's that time again, time to get the flu vaccines. And Smith Drugs in Forest City has the flu vaccinations available. Walk-ins Monday through Friday and Saturdays by appointment. And Smith Drug is asking all their Dream Station and System 1 CPAP customers to call if you need any help with registering your recalled devices. Just call the Home Medical Department for any help or with questions at 828-245-4591. And Smith Drugs has the Moderna and Pfizer initial shots and the boosters. They also have the flu vaccines, and November is Diabetes Month. Get 10% off diabetic socks for the month of November at Smith's Drugs of Forest City.
All right, it's 7 minutes after 8 o'clock here on this Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning is Andrew Tisdale Day here in the Blue Room. It's always a pleasure to have him come in and talk to us about making sense of our investing, and he's here this morning to do just that very thing. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Do you like change?
I like some change.
Some change, silver change, or you changed this to here to here.
That's right.
And I went.
That's right. I did that.
Yeah, but we
look at you better than this. Let me make sure you're on the
Yeah,
camera.
we figured it out.
You got to make sure the camera's aiming at you.
Yeah, we figured it out.
Yeah, we figured it out. See,
yeah,
see, doesn't take
we're adaptable, ambidextrous.
What you got on your mind today?
What about early withdrawal from your IRA? And, you know, sometimes while we're working, we are contributing to an IRA, an individual retirement account, because it provides a tax-free advantage for me to save for my future, just like it is for my 401k. However, sometimes we come upon times in life we actually consider withdrawing from our IRA, not specifically for retirement purposes, but because we come in a situation we feel like we need it. Now, what do we need to do? If you need to withdraw funds from an IRA before you're 59 and a half, always remember, if it's just taken out, you're probably going to be subject not only to the taxes, but also a 10% penalty unless you meet certain exceptions. So what are those exceptions? One, paying for college. You're allowed to take a penalty-free withdrawal to pay for tuition and other qualified higher education expenses for you, your spouse, your children, or even your grandchildren. What about buying a first home? You and your spouse can withdraw up to $10,000 from your IRAs to buy your first home. Having a child. Following the birth or adoption of a child, you and your co-parent can withdraw up to $5,000 from your respective IRA. Co-parent. I'm going to say spouse. How about covering medical expenses? You may be able to avoid the early withdrawal penalty if you use the money to pay for unreimbursed medical expenses. If it exceeds up to 7.5% of your adjusted gross income. But remember, now that don't necessarily mean that you're going to go scot-free and you don't owe taxes. It's just not your 10% penalty. You're always going to pay taxes. Uncle Sam, he says, I gave you a tax break before, and now I need my taxes now. You know, he never forgets. But keep in mind, what are the pros and cons of it taking out of your IRA? When you retire, you do need something because you're not working and you're not in the labor force to draw income from it. So what do you need to think about? If I have $100,000 in my IRA and I'm averaging a 7% return and I've got about 15 more years till I get to retirement, 7% of $100,000 is $7,000 a year. When you compound interest that, you're going to have over double when you retire. Matter of fact, you're going to have close to $250,000 in that IRA. But what if you say, well, but I need to take this out because I come an expense that I just wasn't prepared for, and I take it out, and I have to take out $25,000. Well, that $75,000 now drops down to, and you're only getting 7% of $75,000. Well, that dramatically decreases what you're going to be having in retirement. As a matter of fact, it decreases it by over 50% from that. So if you're thinking about withdrawing, sit down and look at all the aspects and think about all the things before, instead of just actually creating, wait a minute, I got to do this. I've got to do this because you feel rushed. There's always a chance to take a deep breath, think it through, and then decide.
Good thinking, good smart advice for us all. And if you have questions about your money, your finances, or what to do with it, or how to spend it, or how to invest it, Andrew Tisdale is the man. He can help you make sense of it. You can contact him at Edward Jones there in Rutherford at 173 Railroad Avenue, Rutherford, and that phone number is 287-9197. And his email is andrew.tisdale@edwardjones.com.
That is it.
I got it covered, didn't I?
You got it covered.
All right. It's always a pleasure to see you.
My pleasure.
You always seem to be happy. I like that.
Well, if I'm in here, why wouldn't I be?
There you go. See you next week.
See you.
See you, Andrew Tisdale. Go see him when you have any questions about your finances. He'll take care of it. 12 minutes after 8 o'clock, Congresswoman Virginia Fox scheduled to call in this morning. We'll see if that happens.
Attention, time is running out. There are only a few days left in the annual enrollment period for Medicare Advantage and prescription drug plans. Don't be one of those who didn't get their extra benefits. Stop what you are doing, pick up the phone, and call Tim Freshour. He will make sure you are getting everything you are entitled to, like no extra cost dental, vision, meals, rides, Part B give back, even up to $3,000 paid back to you. The annual enrollment period ends December the 7th. Don't miss out. Call Tim Freshour now at 828-302-2303.
When it comes to checking your Christmas list and checking it twice, check out B&D Thrift and Loan this year. They have a great selection of jewelry, appliances, musical instruments, electronics, toys, gaming systems, and brand new four-wheelers, 110, 125, and 150 cc's. B&D is still buying gold, so if you have old gold or jewelry lying around, bring it to B&D and turn that old gold into cash on the spot. Located on South Broadway in Forest City, or call them at 245-3551. Your one-stop Christmas shop.
Well, you know, those of you listen to me on a regular basis know I'm a foodie. I love to check out restaurants and cafes where they have good food. Well, I've been telling you about Scrappy's Food and Fuel down in below their Chase community, just below Floyd's Creek Baptist Church. Stopped by there yesterday for lunch, and I thought, well, I'll have one of their hot dogs. I'll give a chance to talk about it, see if it's really what it says, and it was indeed more than that. Homemade chili. They do their own chili. They don't put it out of a can. They don't buy it. They make their own homemade chili. They got much. You put anything on your hot dog you want. They got great hamburgers, and they got different plates and chicken sandwiches. It's a great place. If you can do yourself a favor and stop by Scrappy's Food and Fuel. If you like a great hot dog or hand-breaded chicken tenders and onion rings or a juicy hamburger, then your next stop should be Scrappy's Food and Fuel. There's a full breakfast going on right now. They serve breakfast Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. until 2 o'clock, Saturdays from 7 a.m. until 2. Those hot, handmade biscuits are made fresh daily every day at 6 a.m. You really need to check that out. The Scrappy's Food and Fuel is on the corner of Chase High Road and Highway 221. Scrappy's Food and Fuel, locally owned and locally operated. I tried it yesterday for lunch, and I'm pleased. I'm satisfied. I've been telling you the truth. Now here is Sheriff Chris Francis with our report.
in the last 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office has responded to 136 calls for service. There have been 12 arrests processed at the county jail. Currently incarcerated, we have 185. Among those arrested, Christopher Scott Hull, 48-year-old male of Rutherford, was charged with failure to comply, received a $250 cash bond. Elmer Wayne Hamrick, 58-year-old male of Rutherford, charged with 3 counts of failure to appear, received a $1,000 secure bond. Lincoln Hart Odell, 19-year-old male of Rutherford, charged with failure to appear, received a $500 cash bond. Kenneth Scott Merck, 49-year-old male of Ellenboro, was charged with 2 counts of failure to appear, received a $500 bond. David Lamont Ledbetter, 36-year-old male of Lake Laurel, was charged with failure to appear and received a $6,000 secure bond. Daniel Justin Hill, 43-year-old male of Morrisburg, was charged with trespassing and resist obstruct delay. Corey Michael Marquise Keck, 32-year-old male of Boston, was charged with possession of heroin, drug paraphernalia, and contributing to the delinquency of his juvenile and received a $5,000 secure bond. Jason Dwight Bradley, 43-year-old male of Boston, was charged with possession of meth and possession of drug paraphernalia, received a $7,500 secure bond. Among our incidents, we had a larceny on Atlas Drive in Boston. It was a North Carolina tag, TCB 4459, that is missing. We also had a breaking and enter and larceny, being into a building larceny at US 74 Boston. There were 2 catalytic converters that had been cut off there. We had a larceny on Jefferson Road in Morrisburg, a tan and black German Shepherd. However, valued at $800. However, that canine has been returned. We had a littering call on Tony Road where there was trash that had littered up the road, possibly blown off the back of a truck. We had obtained property by false pretense on US 221A. Someone had used the victim's EBT cards in the amount of almost $2,000 fraudulently without permission to do so. And we had a breaking in and larceny on Trojan Lane, Forest City, where there was U.S. currency and coins, several $1,000s that was taken from the victim in that incident. And, Jim, that's what we had to report today.
Thank you, Sheriff Chris Francis, for that report. Now, one of my favorite people in Washington, serving North Carolina, is Congresswoman Virginia Foxx. She's on the phone with me right now. Good morning, Congresswoman Foxx. How are you doing?
I'm great, Jim, and congratulations to you on being elected to the Hall of Fame for the GOP. Sorry I could not be there Saturday night. I had a previous commitment before. In fact, it had been a year-long commitment and couldn't be there. Sure. And so I'm really, really sorry, but congratulations to you.
Thank you. It was an honor. It was an honor to be nominated like that. I would love to have seen you, but I know you have many obligations that you have to fulfill.
Well, as I said, this one was made a year ago. Somebody had to postpone a 75th birthday party because of COVID, and I just had to do it, you know.
Sure, I understand.
But I would have enjoyed being with a lot of my longtime friends. You know, I don't say old friends, longtime friends, right? That's the way to say it. And you have been a longtime friend since our days in the Martin administration. Yes. Very steadfast.
I value those times, too. Tell us what you're doing up in Washington. What's going on? I know you're trying to get things squared away and make some sense out of what's happening.
Yes, and that is really, really tough. Last week, on Thursday afternoon, the House passed the continuing resolution to keep the government funded, and then the Senate concurred with that Thursday night. And so around 9 o'clock, they announced that there would be no votes on Friday. Well, this is the kind of schedule we have, you know, Jim. It's just crazy. We get 5 minutes notice, be here, or 5 minutes notice, don't be here. And so it's tough. But we did fund the government until February 18th, I believe. And in many ways, it's good that we're doing a CR this time because we're saving money. We are continuing the Trump spending and not going into the Biden administration spending. So that's a good thing. But today we've got demonstrators out on the streets blocking traffic. I came in 5:45 this morning. I usually come in between 6:30 and 6:45, but they said the demonstrations would start at 7 a.m. So I live very close to the Capitol, but I didn't want to take a chance on getting blocked and being very aggravated this morning. So I got up very early and came in early. But, these people obviously are either living on unemployment or independently wealthy, or somebody's paying them to demonstrate, and they want to stop people from coming to work. What a stupid thing to do.
Yeah, really.
We already got problems with productivity in the country right now because people aren't able to come to work, and these are people who lifeblood is to demonstrate. So, but we have other things that we will be doing today. Let me mention to your listeners that I have introduced a bill called the Parents' Bill of Rights. I'm the lead Republican on the Education Committee. I've worked in education all my life, both at the elementary and secondary level. I was on the school board for 12 years. Then I worked in post-secondary. I was at Appalachian. I was the president of a community college. And so education's been what I have focused on all my life. I know that education's the key to success in this country. It certainly was for me. And even though I came from a family where I grew up with no electricity and no running water, my mother a 6th grade education, my father a 9th grade education. I've always known how important education is. But what's happening in recent years, Jim, is that parents no longer have control over what's happening in the schools. And so what Republicans want to be is the party of education. We are the party of education because education is about opportunity and success, and that's what we've always believed in. So we've introduced the Parents' Bill of Rights. I think every Republican in the House has signed on to it. So let me tell you what the Parents' Bill of Rights is about. Parents have the right to know what their children are being taught. We want the curriculum to be transparent. Second, parents have the right to be heard. We want parents. This is just an emphasis on the first amendment. Parents have a right to speak at school board meetings. Parents have the right to assemble, and they have a right to meet with teachers and school board members. Then number 3, parents have the right to see the school budget and spending. I mean, it's what's happening in many school districts is they're hiding how the money's being spent. They're hiding where the money's coming in. People don't know how much money is coming in. There is so much money coming into education right now that the boards of education can't spend it all. Then 4, parents have the right to protect their child's privacy. We don't want the school systems to do surveys of children. We don't want the school system to be counseling students to become transgender or to, we've always known, schools couldn't give an aspirin to a student without parental rights. Suddenly that's gone out the window, and the schools are doing all kinds of things they have no right to do. Then parents have the right to keep their children safe. We don't want these situations where there's sexual assault, rapes on campus, and then it's covered up by the administrators and the school board. So it's pretty basic, and all ought to be already in effect, but in some places it's not.
And why anyone would want to fight that is beyond me. I know some of the Democrats are fighting all of those things you just mentioned. They don't want those things to happen.
That's right, because the unions want to be in control of the school. No, the unions should not be in control of the school. The unions are there. Their focus should be on students. It's never been on students. Now, I will say, in defense of our area, Jim, you know this and I know this. We have wonderful teachers, wonderful administrators.
Yes, we do.
We don't have these problems in the 5th District of North Carolina. We just don't. but these problems exist in other places. And so I laud teachers. I give them credit for all that they do. But we're losing teachers, and we're losing good administrators because of bad actions of administrators and state board of education doing things. We don't need that. We want to keep the good teachers in the schools, and we want to protect them, and we want them to be known that they're respected.
Well, coming from an educator like you, you know exactly what you're talking about. It makes a lot of sense because you've been there in the system from the, as you mentioned earlier, from the get-go, and you know
Right.
how important education is to you and all the people in North Carolina, and I'm glad you're up there fighting for that.
Well, I will continue to do that. Again, what I want to do, anybody asks me why I'm in Congress, I want to preserve the opportunities that I had growing up very poor with no advantages whatsoever, but being able to take advantage of living in the most wonderful country in the world where I could become successful. That doesn't mean having a lot of money, doesn't mean having prestige. It means taking your God-given talents and being able to use them instead of being in a communist country where you're told you're going to do this or you're going to do that, whether that's your talent or not.
I know we don't, let me change the subject just a minute before we have to let you go. I know we don't know how the Supreme Court's going to vote, but what is your gut feeling on how they're going to come down on the Roe versus Wade issue?
Well, I did not go to hear the arguments, but from everything I have heard, particularly with the justices who were approved during President Trump's administration, probably his greatest achievement are getting these three conservative justices on the court. Everybody thinks that they will, if not overturn Roe v. Wade, they will absolutely absolutely affirm life. Jim, life begins at conception. That has been the standard for a long, long time. And we know now that babies are living as young as 15 weeks. We know there's a heartbeat there very early. And it is the taking of a human life. It's a preborn child. And so I'm hoping that the Supreme Court is going to bring some sanity to this. I understand the arguments of women that they should control their own bodies. But when they have an abortion, it's not just controlling their bodies. They're killing a human being. And I think it's very serious. And I truly grieve for any woman who feels she's in that position. And I just urge her to carry her baby to term and give it up for adoption. Or many women, once they see their baby, once they hold their baby, they realize that it's a human being and they don't want to do that. And more groups now are preparing to support women who do that. And that's what we should be doing in this country. We should support women who carry their babies to term. I'm so sorry when any woman feels she has to have an abortion.
Yes. Congresswoman Virginia Fox is who I'm talking with, and we're going to have to let her go in just a moment. But how much time now will you folks be able to get off for Christmas? Are they going to work you right
I don't know, Jim. I have been here, I think, 3 times on Christmas Eve.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's a pretty miserable place to be on Christmas Eve, let me tell you. Nobody wants to be on Christmas Eve, but we need to pass the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act. The Democrats want to raise the debt ceiling. I'm opposed to that. We do not need to accumulate more debt in this country. We're way past our entire GDP right now, and that's wrong. We've got to cut back spending, not keep spending, and that's what they want to do. So I don't know how much longer we're going to be here. I hope not long. I hope people will get some sense. I pray. You know, I know there are people out there who are prayer warriors. We need to pray that hearts will change, minds will change, and that they'll come to their senses and stop doing this to our country. But I can't tell you.
Absolutely.
But as soon as I can get home, I'm going to get home. That's all I can tell you.
Nothing like the mountains of North Carolina, right?
That's right. You know, quick. I know you got to get off the air, but let me tell you, there's one story I love to tell. Somebody from the mountains of North Carolina died and went to heaven, was being shown all over heaven, and everything was great except one little spot where people were in chain link fences and unhappy, and said to the angel, the person said to the angel, "What is wrong? Everything's right with heaven except these people." He said, "Oh, they're the people from the Appalachian Mountains, and if you let them go, they'll go back home."
Oh, that's funny. Congresswoman Virginia Fox, have a Merry Christmas.
Take care.
Look forward to
all
talking
right.
again.
Have a blessed Christmas.
Bye-bye. Always a pleasure talking to her. She's a fun lady and a dedicated Congresswoman of North Carolina. 8:30, Chairman Brian King will be coming up in just a few moments to give us a report from last night's meeting.
And all through the house were to-do notes left by my loving spouse. The lights weren't hung, which she found problematic. They were still in a box somewhere in the attic. Then home from the store, my wife did appear. North Carolina Education Lottery scratch-offs in hand, and I started to cheer. 6 holiday scratch-offs to choose. What fun. I flew through my list, and now I'm done. This holiday season need not be a chore, because holiday scratch-offs are the gift that could be so much more. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 2.95 to 9.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Your first and last place to do your Christmas shopping will be at the Burnt Chimney in downtown Forest City. They have beautiful Christmas ideas for everybody. Unique handcrafted ideas, reloved furniture, new popular boho furniture, handcrafted jewelry and ornaments, gift baskets, and so much more. Most items are made by local artists right here in Rutherford County. Shop local this year. Shop at the Burnt Chimney Gifts and Decor in downtown Forest City. Give them a call at 828-803-2565. Merry Christmas from the Burnt Chimney Gifts and Decor.
The commission report coming up here in just a few moments as we were talking with Congresswoman Virginia Fox about Roe versus Wade and the idea that they're debating that right now. At least 21 states immediately could ban the killing of unborn babies and abortions if the U.S. Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade. 21 states immediately could ban the killing of babies. Many hopes the Mississippi case Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health, which the High Court hears Wednesday, will spur the justices to reverse its disastrous 1973 ruling and allow states to protect unborn babies from abortion again. So hopefully that will take place. All right, as promised, we have the chairman of the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners on the phone. They met last night, and he also filed for re-election yesterday. Congratulations on that, sir.
Well, thank you. Actually, on the front page of the paper, you see Commissioner Benfield,
yes.
Commissioner Tony, and Commissioner King. We've all filed together at the same time.
Yes.
And we're ready to keep this rolling here in the county, or the future that we're all establishing, working together. So it was exciting. So thank you for that.
Glad to hear that.
I just don't know about following Congresswoman Fox on your show.
That's a challenge, isn't it?
It certainly is. It's like following the superstars. She's wonderful. She's great. But thank you for your time this evening. Are you ready for me to jump?
Yes, go right into it.
Okay. Yeah, because we had actually a lengthy meeting last night, a lot of business before us. Of course, we had our 5 o'clock closed session where we which was supposed to be announced regarding some industrial locations for some businesses that are looking at relocating here, and then we had an attorney-client. So after that, we came out of our meeting, and we started our 6 o'clock meeting. The first order of business, which we do every December, as was required by state law, is that the Board of Commissioners elect representatives on the board to serve as our vice chairman and chairman. This year, myself, Brian King, was asked to serve as chairman, and Alan Tony was asked and was elected to serve as vice chairman. So we're serving those roles this year, and we really, both of us appreciate the board and their allowing us to serve them in this manner, and it sure is an honor to serve in that capacity. The next item on our agenda was agenda approval, which was made, and then we had a public hearing on economic development. This public hearing is, right now we're calling it Project River Ridge. We're now announcing or naming the company name or anything like that, but there are some local incentives that are involved. This is being worked on. It was very positive. I believe it's going to happen. I'm pretty certain it's going to happen. But this is one of the, I mentioned when I was interviewed by the paper, so, Brian, Commissioner, why do you want to run again? And I'm saying, well, we've done so much. All the work we've done is beginning to bear fruit. And this is, I want to run and be able to continue that and allow this to happen. And this is one of the items. This company that's looking at moving here is going to have 350 jobs. and the average salary is $69,000 a year, 350 plus, excuse me, and the average is $69,000 a year. And this was put in last night in the public hearing. Is the building reuse? So we're actually going to be reusing one of the facilities here in our property that's sitting still. So that was very exciting. Can't wait for the official announcement from the Department of Commerce and the governor's office when all the, when everything's completed. But it's really looks very promising. So we had that public hearing last night regarding the county side of the incentive program for this new industry coming to our community. Then the next item was our public comments. Before public comments, the Board of Commissioners had a public comment. We recognized Clark Poole, who was in the chambers with us, for his service on the local chamber, and because he's retiring at the end of the month, and he's provided so much service to our community, and we were happy to see him last night, and we're happy to see him go. But he did tell me that he's not leaving; he's still going to be involved, but he is stepping down as director of the chamber, the local business chamber, so Chamber of Commerce. So we certainly do appreciate his service. As always, we have the consent agenda. These are previous minutes and tax refunds and releases, and they were approved. We had an item that came up before us, which was 3025, as we identified. This is Certificate of Achievement in Financial Reporting. Our county received recognition for having Achievement of Excellence in Financial Reporting from the Governmental Finance Officers Association. This is the highest honor that a government entity can have. This shows that your county government, your finance office, and the government, the whole organization, how we carefully manage and work on the federal, state, and local funds that we're responsible for. And this, of course, this is the 32nd consecutive year that we've had this award. And so I applaud our department heads, our county manager's team, and especially our finance office and director for their hard work and ensuring that that we're accounting for every penny and every dollar that we're responsible for, and that is being spent properly. And so that was a high honor, and we acknowledged that last night. There may be a photo in today's paper regarding that, but so congratulations to them for that. Next item we had was a resolution of appreciation to the North Carolina Office of Emergency Medical Services and FEMA. And so, usually in the past, people say, I'm from the government, I'm here to help, and that kind of scares you. But this time it wasn't. We had our volunteer EMS organizations step down from servicing early in the year, and that left a opening, a hole in our services that we could provide as we were ramping up our plans for a new full service program. Well, Jeff Powell with the North Carolina Office of Emergency Medical Services was there, and we recognized himself and FEMA, and we had a resolution of appreciation because they brought their strike team in, which brought in their ambulances and their teams to cover us. So we did not lose any coverage on our EMS services as we ramped up our program, which is in effect now, and that was very appreciative. Our citizens didn't lose any service, any availability to service, but it also shows how relationships matter and how Jeff Powell and his team and FEMA, how they were able to come in and help us in a time of need. And so we did a resolution of appreciation for that. Our Tourism Development Authority has an opening, and that was the next thing that we brought up. We have a vacancy on the TDA. If you happen to be a promoter of tourism, you're eligible. This is because the TDA, by state statute, you have to have certain persons from certain areas, people that work in hotels, promoters, or general citizen. This seat here is for a promoter of tourism. So if you're in that, we announced last night we do have an opening on the TDA, and this is very important because the TDA not only reinvest the occupancy tax funds that we receive for promoting tourism, they also use the funds, I think it's over $2 million so far, that they use to reinvest in our community. If you see that in the streetscapes, you see that in some of the signage, and you see that in other things that are happening. So, so this is very important to have members on that board to help provide insight to the board on where they're investing in our community, and we certainly appreciate them for that. We also had, you stop me anytime, I'm just going, this is a long meeting. We were there for 2 hours, so I'm not trying to go too fast, but I'm just trying to cover everything.
You're cutting it down to the Reader's Digest portion of it, right?
Yes, sir, I'm trying to, but I do want to give some insight of why we did what we did. We had appointments to the Rutherford County boards and commissions. These are ones that usually expire in December, and I'm not going to name all of them, but they are listed. But it's our fire departments, our local volunteer fire departments, Board of Equalization Review, Farmland Preservation Advisory Board, and the Watershed Review Board. So, thank you for everyone that serves on our volunteer fire department's Board of Trustees. That's very important. This is for the Firemen's Relief Fund and on these other boards. This is how we get things done in our community, is all of us serving together and working with each other. So we had Pangea come next. Pangea provided us an service update. Director Ron Walters and Mr. Ken Griffiths there provided an update on Pangea. It's a really interesting presentation. I had a similar one earlier in the month. Each commissioner had a one-on-one presentation with the director over Pangea. It's amazing the scope of Pangea in our counties, Rutherford and Polk. It's also amazing the work that they've done, and all of us have done working together. They explained their plan of expanding broadband in our community, and their plans of bringing their services to the residential side. So that was very interesting and very good, and I was excited to see that. And if you have an opportunity, please look it up and look at the presentation we had on our had at our meeting. They were shown that within 1 mile of their footprint, how many citizens that they would have the opportunity to serve, and their footprint goes throughout our community, throughout our county, and it was amazing. So I was really pleased to see that. We had our audit report. Excuse me, 1 second. Sorry, I had a cough. I wanted to do it off air. We had our audit report was presented to us last night, and that was great. We got a clean bill, a great audit. Their high points was where for counties our size and counties that we have not only do we have a good budget process, we have a good audit accounting process, but they showed how our fund balance has increased from 2018 to now. How we were able to do that and keep our finances in good position. We were actually above counties of our size and with our tight budget. So it was kudos to the conservative manner of our board. It was mentioned in how we manage our funds because we are pretty conservative, and we do have services that we have to provide, that we do provide because that's what's expected of county government. But we also make sure that we invest our dollars wisely when we need to spend them. And that was reflected in the audit report. There was a caveat that was mentioned last night, was that fund balance doesn't mean you have to spend it. So when somebody sees that our fund balance is increasing, that's for rainy days. That's not to spend. So we do that as in a conservative manner, and that was a great audit report, and we got high remarks on that. And the audit report was approved last night. We had our budget amendments next. These are monies that came in like the sheriff's department and others, and they were approved. The bonds for the county officials every December. Every year, the county officials have to have their bonds approved by the Board of Commissioners, and so we approved that last night. We had applications for property tax exclusion exemptions. So we had 2 folks that were elderly and disabled veterans, and that they just missed the date, and they were approved. We had one that was denied. The board didn't feel qualified, but that came before the board after that. The environmental health user fee schedule came. We had a modification was presented to us by the health district on the fees for the services they provide, just a handful of them, to bring them up to scale and to cover the cost. So that was presented to us last night. We had the rabies vaccinations during the month of December. We have some called rabies tags. We get these once a year to provide rabies shots to the animals that come in. Well, we're reducing them in the month of December because we have some left over, and the tags expire. So, we don't want to throw them away, but we also want to make citizens who have animals, they want to have rabies shots, contact the local animal shelter and see about getting your animal vaccinated for rabies this in the month of December because we're reducing the cost. So that was presented to us. Very important, one of the goals of the county, and was presented actually during our budget process, we're talking about cybersecurity, and part of that is we updated our technology use policy last night, which is something that we've been working on, I don't know how many months now, at least 6 months, a whole team of us, of the board and and members of administration and our IT department. That was updated last night. We really have tightened down on the protocols and use of the technology in county government, and those that have access to the county government are our partners, such as the Sheriff's Department and DSS and all that. They're using our resources to make sure that we're all up to speed and or understand the technology use policies for the security and safety, and not only of our data, but of our network. And that was approved last night. And you stop me in time, Jim. I got three more.
That's good. Go ahead. You got time.
Okay. All right. So next item is something. The Board of Commissioners had a resolution supporting the passage of the Heartbeat Bill. The Heartbeat Bill is a pro-life statement that we believe. It was in our resolution that we passed last night. If your heart's beating, you're a human being, and your life is precious to us. And we passed that resolution to be sent to Raleigh and to the federal government, to to all the folks to realize how important life is from conception on is to the Board of Commissioners.
Amen.
And the Heartbeat Bill was passed last night, and so I'm really proud of that. So I have a copy of it. We'll have a copy probably posted on the website later today after it's signed by the board chairman. And the next item was a resolution requesting the North Carolina Department of Transportation to dedicate and name a bridge on 221A in Rutherford County, North Carolina, near Duke Power Road in Cliffside, in honor of Mr. J.C. Surratt. Talking to their family over a year, almost 2 years now. It's an individual that lived in our community and had a big impact on his family and his community on and how he lived his life, and that was presented to us last night as well, and it was a resolution that goes up to the DOT for their consideration. And then after that, we adjourned, and that was about 8 o'clock last night.
Well.
So it was a long meeting. I gave you the cliff notes, but we had a lot of business last night. I just appreciate we had a full house. I appreciate everyone who came and visited and listened to our and attended our meetings. So,
well, it's good to get those positive reports from you each month and how the county's doing and the success that you're having over there as leaders of the county, you and your other team members on the board as commissioners. And I commend you on you guys stepping forward and filing for another term. But credit is also due to the folks behind the scenes that are there, and that's the county manager, Steve Garrison, and his team that help support a lot of these things that you're talking about. So we need to give some credit to Steve Garrison this morning. We do. That's a good point. This board has always, we govern as a body. You've heard me say that before. Yes.
We govern as a body, and so, and somebody said, Brian, I have someone tell me this, Brian, you're the chairman. They work for you. I go, no, you don't understand it. I work for them.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a great administrative team. Steve Garrison, we appreciate him and his administration. And it's not easy, but it's joyful.
Yeah.
The work that we do is a joy. This new industry that we had our public hearing on. I mean, we've been working on that for a while now. We have another one stepping out right behind them. But to see these, to plant these seeds and then see them opening up. I mean, because we've had new restaurants coming in. You see the streetscaping that's happening in Fort City and Spindale and Lake Lure. All that's planning are things that we all as a team, and then that's we're from the TDA and the other towns, that we have been working together on all this time to improve the life and improve our community. And that's the joy part of the work that we do. So congratulations to everyone that.
I'm glad to see that folks are bullish on Rutherford County, and they recognize that we have a lot to offer, and they're coming this way to provide jobs and provide another new way of living positively for us, and that's great news.
All right. Well, I hope I did well following Virginia Fox.
Oh, you did great. We'll have you back again next month.
All right. Well, you guys have a great day.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, sir. Merry Christmas. Thank you.
It's Brian King, the chairman of the County Commissioners, and tomorrow morning, hopefully, we'll have a school board report from the chairman. I think they meet tonight. If they do, we'll hopefully have a report from Philip Mara tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, let's hear this. Coming up at 9:05, it's My Great America with Jim and Butch.
When the custom cake has to be perfect, it needs to come from Southern Belle Cakes by Nikki Lee. Weddings, birthdays, baby showers, holiday cakes. Call on Southern Cakes by Nikki Lee. She does amazing work for special events like school packages for teachers, special events for corporations, treat tables for any event. Nikki also has pre-packaged Christmas treats like hot cocoa bombs, cupcakes, cookies, chocolate-covered pretzels, and so much more. These will make great stocking stuffers or a surprise gift for someone special or a coworker. Give Nikki a call today at 828-896-4780. That's 896-4780. Southern Belle Cakes by Nikki Lee, voted Best Cake Artist in Rutherford County.
Commissioner Brian King did mention that he, along with Alan Toney and Mike Benfield, filed together yesterday for re-election in their term. And, of course, Benfield will be facing a primary opposition as Republican Jason Dwayne Toney also filed for District 4 seat. In addition to those, Sheriff Chris Francis filed for re-election, as did Clerk of Court Superior Court Steve Owens. He also filed. Owens will face primary opposition from Patsy Kirkland. In local races, the 3 Board of Education seats are also up for election, but no one had filed at the close of the office yesterday. Those seats are currently held by Republican Brandy Nanny, District 1, Brandon Gosey, District 2, and Sherry Bright, District 3. Some choose to file on the first day. Others wait until they see who else is filing before the actual file, but there will be some more activity probably over there today. Though filing for local race continues, the North Carolina Court of Appeals on Monday morning issued an order temporarily suspending candidate filing for all U.S. House of Representatives, NC Senate, and NC House contests. By order of the court, the county boards of election may not file candidates for State House and State Senate until further notice. Likewise, the State Board of Elections may not file candidates for U.S. House until further notice. This is a temporary stay to permit the parties to submit arguments to the Court of Appeals. The court then will decide whether to continue the suspension or lift it. Filing will be other contests as well. Candidates have 2 weeks to file, with the filing period ending Friday, December 17th, and the election is next year. A lot of changes going on in redistricting, and we'll see how all that takes place and see if everything goes well with that. Who knows, right? When they start redistricting and realigning things, it's unsure exactly how things will work out. A new program is set to begin in January that will directly impact low-income families in Rutherford County. It's called Rutherford Help is the name of the program, which will operate under the direction of Community Health Council of Rutherford County. The council received 2 grants to establish the program to specifically assist clients of food pantries, motel ministries, and other social service agencies in Rutherford County. The Rutherford Help Director has not yet been officially named, but according to Jill Miracle, Community Health Council Director, the new program will connect those who use food pantries and other service providers to resources available through local ministries or on a county, state, or federal level. The program director will meet with clients who must be referred by a food pantry or other agencies in person or by phone to complete an early assessment. Eligible clients will be enrolled for up to 90 days. So a lot of good things going on around our area. We hope it continues to do that. Got to make room, get out of here, and rest up the old vocal folds and see what's coming up with My Great America with Jim and Butch in just a few moments. Butch is in the building, preparing, getting ready for the show this morning. I found this interesting, though, that only 22% of Americans can retell the biblical Christmas story. Only 22% can retell the story. The survey collected responses of 1,005 Americans and was conducted online between September 3rd through the 14th, 2021, found that 91% of respondents celebrate Christmas. Only 9% said they did not celebrate the holiday. Americans may celebrate the Christmas holiday in many different ways, but very few skip a Christmas celebration completely, according to Scott McConnell, Executive Director of Lifeway Research. Even many of those who aren't as familiar with the story of Jesus' birth find ways to observe the holiday. Nearly all Catholics, 99%, and Protestants, 97%, celebrate the birth of Christ in comparison to Americans of other religions, 74%, and the non-religious affiliated, 82%. The survey also found that women, 94%, are more likely than men, 89%, to celebrate Christmas. Across the U.S., residents in the Midwest 94% are more likely to say that they celebrate the annual holiday than those living in the Northeast. While most Americans take part in annual Christmas festivities, only a few of them can give an accurate account of Jesus' birth from memory. 22%. Santa Claus is edged out Jesus, unfortunately, in the families of many. They know more about Santa Claus and where he's supposedly from than Jesus and the birth in the manger. Meanwhile, 31% of respondents could tell the story but missed some details. 25% could only offer a quick overview, and 17% could not retell any of it. A lot of fictional Christmas stories that seem to multiply each year. The biblical account of Jesus Christ's birth is unchanged since it was recorded in the Bible. Yet almost half of Americans do not think they can share the Christmas story somewhat accurately from memory. Of all the Christmas programs churches offer in December, possibly the most important is simply reading the biblical account of the Christmas story itself. And how much and how many folks would want to do away with that history? According to Lifeway Research, Christians who attend a worship service 1 to 3 times a month and 4 or more times a month are more likely to describe the Christmas account accurately than those who only attend less than once a month. Additionally, Americans with evangelical beliefs were 3 times more likely to know the story of Jesus' birth than those without evangelical beliefs. Education also plays a role in having a better portrayal of the Christmas story. Americans with a graduate degree, 53%, or college degree, 26%, are more likely to tell it all accurately than those who have a high school diploma or less. 18% are with college education. And then there are those who grow up that don't know anything about Nazareth and Bethlehem and who it was born in a manger. We need to share that story more and more. 8:56, news coming up in My Great America with Jim and Butch in just a few moments. Meanwhile, we'll do this.
The border with Ukraine as the international community begins to fear a possible invasion. President Biden has a video conference today with Vladimir Putin. ABC's Mary Bruce is at the White House.
President Biden is set to deliver a blunt message to Russian President Putin. Invade Ukraine and there will be consequences. Harsh economic sanctions meant to impose severe pain on the Russian economy and possibly cutting off Russia from the international financial system. A senior administration official even leaving open the possibility that more U.S. forces could be deployed to the region.
This morning in Moscow, a gunman opened fire at a customer service center, killing 2, wounding 3. A state of emergency has been declared in Hawaii, where heavy rains have caused widespread flooding and wind damage on Oahu. ABC's Will Carr is there.
People are actually skiing the volcanoes right now on the Big Island. And with all this rain, we're expecting it to continue throughout the day, and it could not come at a worse time. Today is the 80th anniversary of Pearl Harbor, so you can expect this weather to certainly hamper a lot of the ceremonies.
This morning, the President and First Lady visited the World War II Memorial in Washington to mark National Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. More evidence is surfacing that shows the Omicron variant seems to spread faster but causes less serious illness than other COVID variants. ABC's Tiffany Ramos with more on plans for the next few months.
The Centers for Disease Control now urging people to use rapid tests ahead of indoor gatherings, even if you're vaccinated and not showing any symptoms. In new guidance, the CDC says consider using a self-test before joining indoor gatherings with others who are not in your household. This as New York City cracks down with a vaccine mandate for all private sector employees and new restrictions for children.
After hitting a record high in September, the U.S. trade deficit narrowed in October to its lowest level in 6 months. You're listening to ABC News.
What's all the buzz about nasal irrigation and Navage, and should I try it? Here's the science. Airborne germs invade through your nose. It's the body's air filter for trapping allergens and viruses. When your nose gets clogged, it's less effective and germs multiply. Eventually, your immune system can get overwhelmed and you get sick. Nasal irrigation is an effective, all-natural way to clean your nose. It's not a drug, it's more like plumbing. Saline goes in one nostril, around the back of the nose and out the other nostril, flushing out mucus and germs. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage to make cleaning your nose easy. It's the world's only nose cleaner with powered suction. Navage pulls out the bad stuff so you can breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier. At Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, Bed Bath, and Walmart. Or go to Navage.com for a free gift with purchase. Over 2 million sold. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Actor Jussie Smollett returns to the stand today in his own defense at a Chicago trial on charges of lying about being the victim of a hate crime. ABC's Derek Dennis has the latest.
Actor Jussie Smollett offered a motive for the men who he says attacked him in Chicago back in January of 2019. On the stand Monday in his own defense, Smollett said he engaged in drugs and sex acts with Bola Osundero, one of 2 brothers police say he hired to carry out the crime, which involved a noose placed around his neck. Smollett told the court Bola wanted to be hired as a personal security guard, but Smollett was opposed, finding security too intrusive. He also said a $3,500 check paid to Bola was for personal training services. Smollett is facing charges of disorderly conduct, which could get him 3 years in prison. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Instagram has officially launched a feature to try to get kids to take a break from the constant Instagram scroll. Younger users will see notifications about the feature and will be urged to set reminders to hop off the site. Early next year, parents will be given tools to see how much time their kids are spending scrolling on Instagram and the ability to set time limits. And a big change in the new year for the United Arab Emirates, a new work week. The country, like most of the Middle East, right now follows a Sunday through Thursday work week to allow for the traditional Muslim holiday and Holy Day on Friday. However, the UAE next year will switch to a Monday through Friday week to bring it in line with Western schedules. This is ABC News.
Whether you're vaccinated or not, it's important to know the symptoms of COVID and its variants. Fever is the leading sign of COVID and the flu, so make sure you use an accurate thermometer. Only the Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer has been proven accurate, with more than 100 clinical studies. Non-contact thermometers have no clinical evidence behind them, and you cannot rely on them. Be vigilant and seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Learn more at Exergen.com.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Today will be cooler, all thanks to a switch in our wind directions out of the north and east. Highs will reach the upper 40s and the mid 50s with sunshine to the north and clouds thick to the south. Overnight will fall into the upper 30s and lower 40s. We are tracking some showers to build in overnight. That rain will be light to moderate tomorrow morning, especially for areas to the southeast. Highs will be chilly in the mid 40s and lower 50s. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
It's time now for My Great America with Jim and Butch, a conversation about positive things about this great country. And now here are Jim and Butch.
Good morning, Butch. It's another day and a beautiful day it is.
It is a beautiful day, Jim, and I'm going to start out by asking you to help me with something. You know, friends help each other.
Sure, I can. If I can, I will.
My dear friend, and of course we attend the same church, but we're dear friend, Ramona Hall, told me I need to keep my hands from hitting the desk. And, you know, I'm not going to make a generalization about people that are Italian, but I think for some reason when I get in here,
you get excited.
I get excited, but you need to hold me accountable because that's what friends do. We help each other. It's one of the many things I love about my church. We take hold of each other. We help each other out. So if you see my hands flailing about and about to hit, you need to stop me and correct me, okay?
Should I tie them together so you won't?
No, well, do whatever's on your heart, but I just know, I love it. You know what? It says in Scripture that we should love correction, because that's the only way we're really going to find salvation in the development of our lives. So I'm going to do my best, with God's help, keep my hands right here. And if you start to, it may be that I'm just exposed to how excited you get in the morning as well.
You do get excited, but it does play a little havoc with the sound out in radio land, as they used to say.
Okay.
In TV land.
Okay. Well, let's start out with something that we can put a firm stake in the ground regarding, and that's what God has to say. You know, I have people that will often say to me, you know, Butch, things are just so messed up. They're so messed up. What should we do? Well, we know what we need to do. We need to cry out to the God of our salvation. And Daniel 2:21 reminds us, it is He who changes the times and seasons. He removes kings and establishes kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and greater knowledge to those who have understanding. God is not surprised by one thing that's happening in the world.
Right.
God is not wondering, hey, what's going on with Crimea? And what's going on with Ukraine? And are the Russians mobilizing there? And does Iran have a nuke already? And is Israel going to do a preemptive? God knows all things, including the recesses of our own hearts and why we do what we do. And it's the reason why we cry out to Jesus and say, God, reveal the things in me that need to change. And as we do that, Jim, I was just thinking of your conversation with Virginia Fox. I love people that are forthcoming and just so open-hearted, and she really is, isn't she?
She really is. Outstanding lady, and she does not mind exposing that she is a woman of faith.
Right.
She believes in the Scripture, believes in the Judeo-Christian values, and she's not ashamed of that.
Right, and there's no right way to do the wrong thing. My grandfather used to say that, and I have found that being apologetic or trying to be careful, you know, it just doesn't work. And that's one of the reasons why we've got to every single day say, God, what do you want me to say? We want His words, not our words. And it's the reason why, Jim, from day one, when people would ask me, where do you go to church, I unapologetically said, I go to Word of Faith Fellowship. And didn't care what kind of blowback there would be or response there would be. You know why? Because God made it very clear to me, you're not to be ashamed of the gospel, and you're not to be ashamed of your life, and let your life so shine before men that they'll be drawn, and women, that they'll be drawn to you. So being half-hearted or careful or trying to be politically correct has never really been deeply rooted in me. I did have a long season where, unfortunately, I was trying to make cases for why, you know, it was okay to pursue democratic policies. And I think I told you I wrote an article one time that I hope is lost out there in the internet world on I think it was titled "The 5 Reasons Why Jesus Would Be a Democrat." And sure enough, somebody may surface that. But, God's changing my heart. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to be in this county.
And I'm not ashamed of folks know that I belong to Florence Baptist Church in Forest City,
right.
A long-time member. And I'm not ashamed of the fact that people know that I'm a friend of yours because you go to Word of Faith Fellowship. I go to Florence Baptist Church. We can still be friends.
Exactly, Jim. And, the thing that I love is that the body of Christ is called the body because, as it says in Scripture, is the hand going to tell the foot, I have no need of you? What would happen if the nose said, we're out of here, we're on strike? I mean, God has made his body, and we all should be crying out daily, Jesus, help us become more like you. The world's in a desperate place. Rutherford County is in a desperate situation in so many areas, and it's our responsibility to take God's truth and do something about it. I love this county, you know that.
Sure.
And I've been reading a little bit more of some of the works that Robin Lattimore's done. He's a great writer.
He's a great writer.
Great writer. And so, you know what, as we are coming to the end of the year, I want you to be reminded of what a precious and special place God has created here in Rutherford County and the region that we're in. And so with your permission, I want to read some of what he wrote.
Sure, please do.
When pondering the scope of Rutherfordton's history, it is helpful to put the town's founding in 1787 in perspective with other events of state and national history. The town of Rutherfordton existed before there was a Constitution of the United States and before George Washington was elected as America's first president. Washington, D.C. was still years away from being founded as the nation's capital, and the North Carolina General Assembly had not yet moved to Raleigh to establish that city as the seat of state government. Rutherford County was the first county established in western North Carolina following the Declaration of Independence. When it was established in 1779, the small village of Gilberttown, located 3 miles north of Rutherfordton, served as the county seat. The location of a crudely built courthouse at that site, however, was eventually deemed unsuitable by local lawmakers and state legislatures because the area around the log structure was swampy and became flooded during heavy rains. A committee...
Oh, boy.
Jim, but you know what? It was a committee that said, we're going to recommend Jim Bishop to the Hall of Fame for the Republican Party in North Carolina. A committee was soon appointed to find another piece of property for the establishment of a new county seat. The committee didn't have to look very far. A cluster of small farms was located on a nearby wagon road running along Cleghorn Creek just south of Gilberttown. On September 7th, 1786, one of the property owners, James Adair, sold the county 50 acres of land along the creek for $240. The property included a hill that was suitable for the placement of a new courthouse because it was unlikely to flood. On April 17th, 1787, the North Carolina General Assembly officially recognized the founding of the new county seat to be known as Rutherford Town, later shortened to Rutherfordton, but pronounced how, Jim?
Rufton.
In honor of General Griffith Rutherford of Revolutionary War fame, who was also the namesake for the county. Because the move from Gilberttown to Rutherfordton caused no interruption in the official business of the county or the local courts, Rutherfordton holds the distinction of being home to the oldest continuing body of government in western North Carolina. Now, it was also, Rutherfordton was the location of the first U.S. post office in western North Carolina. It was established on October 10th, 1798. My friend Pat Jobe, by the way, his father, I think, was the postmaster in Forest City.
He was for years.
For a number of years.
Yes.
The Rutherfordton Academy, which opened in 1806, was the first school chartered by the General Assembly for the western portion of the state. In 1838, the Rutherfordton Female Academy opened on Washington Street in a shared building with the Rutherfordton Presbyterian Church. And in 1890, the Rutherford Military Institute was established by Captain W.T.R. Bell. For a few years, that school attracted a corps of young cadets from across western North Carolina and 5 other southern states. It was also home to the first newspaper published in the western foothills and mountain region, the North Carolina Spectator and Western Advertiser was printed here in 1831. Later newspapers included the Sun, the Rutherford Tribune, and the Rutherford County News, which was published from 1926 until 1994. I love history.
Oh, that's great.
And those are just some of the fingerprints of history here in our county, written so elegantly by Robin Lattimore.
A lot of nuggets of importance there. And some of those I had forgotten about. I remember Robin is such a great writer, such a great historian. I've had him on my program several times in the past, and hope to get him on real soon. One of the things I want to discuss with him, just to sidetrack you for that, is how some of these little towns got their names.
Right.
Like Sandy Mush and
right.
Some of these are like Oakland used to be called Frog Level. Did you know? Oakland used to be called Frog Level. Frog Level.
At first I thought you said fraud level.
Frog Level.
Frog, like
yeah.
frog, like
yeah,
jumping.
Like jumping hog. And of course, they when they built a new road, they changed it to Oakland.
Names are so important. I remember being in a state one time, and there was a Baptist church, and it was called Dark Hollow Baptist Church.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd think you'd want light in there instead of dark. But
well, there's a place down in the county called Dark Corner, and there's a road called Butcher Holler. Not Butcher Holler, but maybe Butcher something or other down around Hitteretta way. So we got some weird names here, but they all have a history.
I remember a conversation, overhearing a conversation you and Dan Good were having one time, and I looked at you and I said, both of you know where all the dead bodies are. And you both looked at me strangely, so I'm going to move on at this point. So yesterday we can find meaningful conversations anywhere. Yesterday I was on Main Street, Jim, and I walked in there, and I'll confess this, I like malted milkshakes. Mm-hmm. They have too many calories, but every so often I'll have one, and I'll get it right there on Main Street at the ice cream and the coffee shop. And I walked in there, and there was a woman that was tending to plants. She has plants, and she sells them in little potted plant areas there. So I walked over and started talking to her. It turns out it was Cindy Davis, and she is the mother to Jeff and Tim, and they have butlers. Mm-hmm, yes. They own butlers, and so I got a little slice of county history and community history just by talking to her. And I was prompted to go over and ask her about, she was so carefully tending to these plants, and they would have one for $7 or $9 or whatever. And I was so curious about, that person is so interested in taking care of those plants. So I felt prompted to go over and start a conversation, and sure enough, we have people from our church that shop there for rings and other things, and our county has all of these little treasures throughout it. And you've done such a great job, Jim, through the years, whether it's the call-arounds from different parts of the county. No other radio station does that in the area. Whether it's highlighting particular things that are of vibrant importance to the county. I just think it's so good because it helps foster true community.
And I hope folks don't realize where they're living, that we got such a great place to live here in Rutherford County, including the county seat of Rutherfordton.
Well, and I used to live in a beautiful place, Monument, Colorado. Off our deck, we had a 50-yard line view of the entire Front Range. Pikes Peak was there. The Air Force Academy was just across Interstate 25. We had, elk that were in the area, pronghorn, antelope. You had peregrine falcons. There was a mating pair of mountain lions that the Department of Natural Resources was tracking. We had just a plethora of flora and fauna and animals and the like. But I have to tell you something. There is a special beauty about, and I think a lot of it is it's the place where God's getting a hold of my heart as well. But there is a special beauty, physical beauty, to this part of western North Carolina. The Appalachian Mountains are very old. Mm-hmm. Geologists tell us they're very old. They used to be really high, but they've weathered down. It's the same thing that's happened to us, Jim. As we get older, we're feeling the weight of our own personal history. But it's a beautiful place, and I have a strong heart of conviction that God has a lot he wants to do here. December 7th is a day that we all know. Mm-hmm. It's a day that our president at the time, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, in his speech to Congress, asking for a declaration of war against the Japanese, he made it very clear it was a day in infamy. But in the midst of that, as is so often true with America, Jim, there were these unlikely heroes, and one of the unlikely heroes was a man, whose name was Doris Miller, African-American. He went by Dory, And when the Japanese came in with their 360 fighter planes that came undetected with all of those things that took place that just conspired to destroy America. I mean, there was a fleet of B-17s that were coming from the United States, and because they were about to show up at near the time that the attack happened, some folks that saw them thought, well, okay, those fighters are really just the B-17s coming in. It was Sunday. A lot of people had passes. A lot of people were away from their ability to fight. But Dory Miller, an African-American who ended up winning the Navy Cross, he was there in the moment, and he jumped. He helped dying shipmates up out of the water, and had never shot a machine gun before, but ran out onto the deck and started shooting at those Japanese pilots that were coming. He unquestionably saved a number of men, and the ship was flooded below decks, rapidly settling in the water. Its senior surviving officer gave the order to abandon ship, but Dory Miller, a United States Navy cook, third class, who was killed later in action in World War II, was the first black American to be awarded the Navy Cross, the highest decoration for valor. And you know, Jim, it's interesting. According to the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, as we sit here, only 240,000 of the 16 million Americans who served in World War II are still alive and dying every day. The greatest generation. So we should never forget that we stand on the shoulders of men and women who have sacrificed so much so that we can even have a great America. And let us never take for granted what God expects of us, what our country expects of us, what our county expects of us. It's our turn. It's our turn.
It really is. And Senator Bob Dole is one of those folks that's a hero that just passed away. Yes, I did. And he was injured during the war by helping a friend pulling the friend away from the actual fire, and he got wounded and lost the use of his one side arm and hand on one side. But that's the kind of hero we have to really remember and respect. It's a great loss to America that we don't have him around anymore. But he stayed true to the colors of the red, white, and blue up until he died.
Right, and you know, it used to be that our presidents had military service. That was almost always the case there. You know, you think of PT 109 with John Kennedy. Mm-hmm. You think of George H.W. Bush, who was a fighter pilot, I believe was shot down as well. And you know what, folks? Heroism takes all kinds of different forms, but we need to get outside of our own realm of personal selfishness and make it a point to touch the lives of others. Scripture tells us greater love hath no man than this, than to lay down his life for his friends. And so for that 18 or 19-year-old that was in a foxhole and a German grenade came in, and they looked around at their buddies and in that moment said, I'm not going to let them die, threw their abdomen across that grenade.
Right.
You know, for all of the sacrifices like that, we dare never forget. This country has been built with prayer, God's word, blood, sweat, and tears.
Yes.
And for anybody that wants a microwave kind of life, you need to go back to the history and the roots of what the country is all about. Now, at the risk of it sounding dismissive for the holiday that we're in, which I won't do directly at this point, I do want to let you know this. Did you realize that after seeing overall holiday sales increase 8.2% in 2020, the National Retail Federation expects Americans to spend up to 10.5% more in 2021. That is going to bring, this is staggering what I'm about to say, that is going to bring overall American holiday spending to between $843 and $859 billion.
With a B.
Dollars. The gross domestic product, meaning the entire economy of Israel, the land of the Bible, where Jesus was born, in a holiday we're supposedly celebrating his birth. The entire economy for the state of Israel is expected to be $380 billion this year. Which means what? Which means that in America, we're going to spend over 2 times the entire economy, annual economy of Israel on the season of Christmas. And you know what happens in January? Rates of depression go through the roof. Credit counselors, debt management counselors go through the roof. Divorce rates, believe it or not, a lot of people just white knuckle it and say, for the sake of the kids or for just to keep things copacetic, will last through the holidays, divorce rates in the first quarter of the year typically go up. And so while a lot of people are celebrating the birth of Jesus, let's get a hold, folks. Let's be honest, okay? What are we really celebrating? And so make sure you tend to your heart on all of this. That's all. I was tempted to use my hands, but I'm not going to. Let's just make sure we understand what's really happening around us. You know, Jim, one of the things that's been happening to me this past year as we come towards the end of the year is God's Word is just becoming more and more precious to me. We live in a world filled with so many opinions, and I used to be an opinion factory, a debater factory. I was ready to argue about anything. And you know what? I'm learning the power and the beauty of the word okay, or that's right, or the pregnant power of silence, saying, Jesus, what do you have to say here? And it's a pretty radical transformation. There's a lot that needs to still happen in me, and I'm believing God's going to continue to do the work. I think it's in Philippians where it says the work that he started, he'll continue until the day of his coming. But I was reminded again of just how important it is to get into God's Word every single day. And so for a bit of history on this, I used to work consult for the American Bible Society, the second oldest continuous publication in America, all publications, is the American Bible Society record, way back in the day. This is so interesting. This is something that I read. James McHenry, 1753 to 1816, was a physician and one of the signers of the Constitution. He was a member of the Continental Congress and the U.S. Secretary of War. In 1813, he became the president of the First Bible Society in Baltimore, Maryland, and he stated the importance of distributing the Bible in the society. And I'm going to end today's program with this, Jim, with this quotation. Neither in considering this subject let it be overlooked that public utility pleads most forcibly for the general distribution of the Holy Scriptures. And you and I have talked about the Gideons.
Mm-hmm, yes.
I still have one of my Gideon Bibles. It was red.
Too.
Yeah.
Yes.
The doctrine they preach, the obligations they impose, the punishment they threaten, the rewards they promise, the stamp and image of divinity they bear, which produces a conviction of their truths, can alone secure to society order and peace, and to our courts of justice and constitutions of government purity, stability, and usefulness. In vain, without the Bible, we increase penal laws that draw entrenchments around our institutions. Bibles are strong entrenchments. Where they abound, men cannot pursue wicked courses, and at the same time enjoy quiet conscience. Consider also the rich do not possess aught more precious than their Bible, and that the poor cannot be presented by the rich with anything of greater value. Withhold it not from the poor. It is a book of counsels and directions fitted to every situation in which man can be placed. It is an oracle which reveals to mortals the secrets of the heavens and the hidden will of the Almighty. It is an estate whose title is guaranteed by Christ, whose delicious fruits ripen every season, survive the worm, and keep through eternity. God's Word, the Bible. And so for those of you that have orphaned that book, you got baptized and you were given a Bible with an inscription. You bought a Bible at a bookstore. You were given a Bible. You have one that's sat there gathering dust. Pull that off the shelf. It is so alive. Those of you that are addicted to Netflix dramas, you have no idea how dramatic the Bible is. Get into God's Word. I implore you, I appeal to you to do that, because it has the power to illuminate eternal truth and in the process change our life. And Jim, as our lives are changed, I was a miserable Democrat, and I'm happy now. And it's not because I'm a Republican. God nudged me into that place because it's truth. But it's because I'm seeing him do the work in me. And just like we sing at our church, there's a song, do the work in me, so that I can do the work you called me to. You can't do the work God's called you to if you're carrying around all this baggage.
True words have never been spoken. You're right on that line this morning. Always a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure to be with you, Jim. And you know what? I'm grateful. It's a small miracle. I don't think my hands hit the table once.
You did good.
Okay. Thank you, Jesus. I'm so grateful.
God bless America.
God bless America, Jim.
Thank you for joining us for My Great America with Jim and Butch. Join us each Tuesday and Thursday morning at 9:05 for this enlightening program on 100.9 FM and 590 AM. It's My Great America with Jim and Butch.
Today will be cooler, all thanks to a switch in our wind directions out of the north and east. Highs will reach the upper 40s and the mid 50s.